Time to re-up, gotta recycle the flow. I'm emotional, I hug the block.
I'm in LA now, man. It's a wild city, man. I got a spot on Melrose. It's a cool spot. I walk on down my street. First thing I noticed, man, I'll be honest, my transition in LA has been a little shaky. I noticed first thing out there is there's a lot of people with face tattoos. Which, you know, again, growing up in Silver Spring or DC, you see someone with a face tattoo, you're like, I should probably cross the street, right? You might rob me. But in LA, if you see someone with a face tattoo, you're like, are you popping on SoundCloud? You know what I mean? What's your Instagram turn? This might be a networking opportunity. I learned that, I mean, you gotta be very aware of your surroundings. I learned that from growing up in the DC area, because, you know, for those who don't know, some, you know, a lot of locals here, but there's some transplants. DC wasn't always like this, all right? I grew up in the 80s and 90s. I'll tell you a quick story. My uncle Kaku has a gas station in the 90s on New York Avenue in Northeast. It was next to a nightclub called Love. And and every week as a young kid, I'd go visit my uncle at his gas station, Shell gas station, and there'd be a bullet hole in the glass in different locations. And I'd be like, Uncle Kaku, what happened? He's like, don't worry, it was a good week. A good week? That's what DC was in the 90s. And now you go, it's Ivy City, very nice. I'm like, oh, that's crazy. So like, anyway, getting back to my story. I learned that like DC criminals are very unique. Like our criminals have got to be the most fashionable people in the world, son. Like you can get robbed by someone in a $600 Sobiato outfit and you'll never know, you know what I mean? The reason I say this is because I got robbed 3 years ago in DC by a guy wearing the exact same outfit as me. He just came up to me like, hey yo son, give me everything you got. I'm like, bro, it looks like you got everything I got. It looks like you're doing better than me. He's like, nah, I need money for my mixtape. I'm like, yo, that's relatable as fuck. So I'm an investor right now. Gotta go on tour on the Green Line after this. Nah, man, I'll be honest, man, I don't really miss DC like that. I'll tell you why. It's because I got robbed a lot out here, man. You know what I mean? You sell drugs long enough, you're gonna get robbed. Nah, I remember the first time I was robbed, I was 16 years old. I was on my way to sell weed in Bethesda, Maryland. And I was with my best friends at the time, Jacob Greenberg and Brandon Friedman. And yeah, I didn't know it at the time, but those were the worst people to be with when someone pulls out a gun. Jacob was driving, I was in the back seat. We pull up to the transaction, guy comes to the window. He's like, yo, you got the stuff? I was like, yeah, I got the stuff. You got the money? He's like, yeah, I got the money. So I showed him the stuff. Then he showed me his gun. So in that moment, I just yelled at Jacob, hey yo, dip out, dip out. And that's when Jacob just ran out the car.
Stop.
Now, I don't know if anyone knows what it feels like to have someone holding a gun at your face, but also feeling sorry for you at the same time. But he just looked at me like, yo dog, you need some new friends, bro. Add me on Facebook, we'll hang out after this. I'm like, fuck you, but okay. I was a bad dealer, man. I got caught a lot. I remember the first time I got caught, my mom walked into my room and she found 3 triple beam scales that I borrowed from chemistry class. She initially thought I was on the science, like, oh my God, I think my son's gonna be a chemist one day. Like, nope, about to be a street pharmacist. When she found out I was dealing, I was 9th grade, and she was devastated. You know, immigrant mom worked her ass off to, you know, put her kids through school. She didn't know what to do. So she transferred me to a rich private school, thinking that was a healthy situation. But in reality, she gave me a promotion. Thanks, Mom. The following is a story that I don't tell a lot, you know, but this is like a headlining show, and I tell it every time. You know, I do close to an hour, and this is it. Now, when I was 16, I purchased 10 pounds of weed. You know, to me at the time, that was like a regular transaction. And I kept it in my trunk at the time because I didn't want my mom to find it, which is not a good idea. I woke up in the morning to go to school, opened the door. My front door is, my front window is broken and my trunk is open. That's when I realized that I owe a gang $15,000 because half of it was fronted to me. Half paid, half fronted. I'm in debt, $15,000. I don't know what to do. 16 years old, the son of an ice cream man. Not a lot of options. I thought about it, didn't know what I was going to do. Finally, I worked up the courage to ask my dad for help. Approached my dad, he sees that I'm like being like emotional. He's like, what's wrong? I'm like, I got myself into a situation. I owe $15,000 to some drug dealers. Can you lend me $15,000? He said, what the fuck did you just say to me? I need the money, man. He's like, do you know how many cookie sandwiches I have to sell to get you this money? I don't know the exact number, but if you can help me out, these people really mean business. I tell you what, you give me their number, and I'm gonna pull up on them. My dad, you drive an ice cream truck. I don't think that's a good idea. He's like, that's the only option you got. So okay, gave him the number. He met up with the drug dealers. To this day, I don't know what my dad said to those drug dealers. I don't know how much money he gave them. All I know is a few hours went by, he came back. I got a call from the dealer saying the debt was paid off. I don't owe anything. My dad came back, looked at me, said it's taken care of. I couldn't believe it. I got emotional, started crying. Me and my father, we never had a very close relationship, but it was that moment that I really realized how much he loved me. He saw me tearing up. He started tearing up. For the first time in a long time that I can remember, we hugged. In that moment, my brother walked in, he saw me crying, and he was like, who the big baby? Who the big baby, huh? Who the big That's a real ass story about my dad, man. That's a real ass story, man. He's the greatest guy in the world. I wish he was here, but he's in Iran. So shout out to him. I wish I could say, that's where the drug dealing stopped. But it didn't. I was stubborn. I was young. Kept dealing. Went back to the same dealers 6 months later. Yeah, I know. It was bad, man. They gave me an ounce, and I had to work my way back up, and I got caught again, this time by the police, which was like karma's way of being like, you're a fucking idiot. You know what I mean? Got arrested, first time in jail, very scary experience. Was in 7 locks. And I'm in a jail cell with like 3 Latin gangster guys. And I knew these guys were like real gangsters for real because they were wearing red shirts, they had khaki pants, and they didn't look like they worked for Target, you feel me? And I remember them speaking Spanish, trying to size me up because they couldn't tell where I was from. Finally, one of the guys, he comes up to me and was like, hey bro, where you from? I didn't want to say the wrong thing. I was like, oh me? I'm from Bolivia. He's like, for serious, bro? Es la verdad? And I was like, yes. They're like, okay. I'm like, yo, did I just join a Latin gang? What the fuck? It was tense, because I could tell they didn't believe me all the way, so I tried to break the tension by saying every Spanish word I learned in 8th grade. I was like, listen, we need to stick together. Nosotros necesitamos, vamos a la biblioteca. Now they're like, what the fuck, bro? You think we're stupid, huh? Why do we go to the library? I said, because we might be locked up, but they can't lock our cabezas.
No.
They're like, you crazy, bro? But we like you. We're the call you el pollo loco. Hell yeah, dog. That's my favorite chicken spot. Shout out to Jesus, 7 Locks.